In front of me, I should have a Lenovo Thinkpad Z61m, and I bought this laptop not because I was interested in turning this into some sort of project machine like I usually do. A lot of times, I'll buy these old ThinkPads and refurbish them to make them usable for, let's say, office tasks or basic day-to-day school tasks, but I am not going to do that with this laptop. I bought this laptop because it is different. Now, opposed to other ThinkPads such as the T430 I have here, or the T60 that I have downstairs, or the X230 that I looked at a couple weeks ago, those laptops all have carbon fiber reinforced plastic lids. This laptop actually has a titanium lid, and it was an option. You could also get the traditional black ThinkPad lid as well, but what's the fun in that? I mean, if you're buying a Z61M, you're probably getting the titanium lid. So let's pop this thing open and see what is inside. Now, the hardware of this machine should be similar to that of the T60, which I looked at, I think last year. T60 is a wonderful machine, a little bit old, but can still do day-to-day office and school tasks just fine. And wow, that is what I call a thick laptop. Now, I don't think I mentioned this yet. I bought this for $29 off eBay plus $9.99 shipping. Wasn't the greatest bargain, but then again, I wasn't really looking for a bargain. I just wanted to see this thing because a ThinkPad with a titanium lid sounds really, really cool to me. And it's a little bit out of the ordinary because this, I believe this was one of the only models, this and the Z60 as well, were two of the only models actually shipped with titanium lids. Now, the Z series also marked the transition to widescreen displays. Previous ThinkPads used 4:3 aspect ratio displays, which personally I like because I like having the vertical screen real estate, but since this was considered to be a multimedia laptop, you can see that this laptop's actually using a widescreen display, a 16:10 aspect ratio display to be exact. And I'm not really sure which display this particular model is using. There were a couple different configurations. I think it went all the way up to 1680 by 1050, but I highly doubt this is one of those ThinkPads that shipped with that configuration. We'll find out when I turn this laptop on. The nice thing about this laptop in particular is that everything's there. Everything is in good physical condition. Taking a look at the lid, you can see that there is no major damage on the lid. A couple blemishes here and there from day-to-day use, like right here and right here. And this machine can definitely use a cleaning before I run some B-roll footage. The lid latch works just fine, so I can unlatch it, open up the lid, and that movement is nice and smooth. Those hinges are in A+ condition. Taking a look inside, you can see that the screen is in good condition. There's a couple scuffs here and there. I need to clean that up. And the keyboard is in okay condition as well. There's a little bit of wear from day-to-day use, but in all, in good condition. Looking at the back, you can see that there's no major damage as well. A couple scratches, once again, from day-to-day use. It does have a battery. I'm assuming that it's DOA, and I will pull it out if I can get it out. There we go. Is this a genuine Lenovo battery? It is a genuine Lenovo battery, but once again, this thing is probably toast by now. There's also a Windows XP COA sticker on the back. To the right, you can see a PS2 port, CD/DVD drive, two USB 2.0 ports. On the back, you can see the port for charging and another USB 2.0 port. And on the other side, you can see VGA out, Ethernet, phone modem, audio jacks, and FireWire along with card slots. I went ahead and installed the Nadata SU700 120GB solid state drive into this laptop for testing, and I installed Ubuntu Mate 16.04. Yes, Mate, not Mate. So, interesting thing about this machine, or actually really cool thing about this machine, is that it's shipped with the 1680 by 1050 display. So that's awesome. This display looks great, especially for a ThinkPad display. As you can see, viewing angles are actually decent. The viewing angles on this screen are way better than the viewing angles on my T430. This is the highest resolution laptop screen I think I have because my T430 has a 1600 by 900 display. This one is 1680 by 1050. That extra vertical screen real estate is really nice because, once again, this is 16 by 9. This one has a 16 by 10 display. And let me run through some system specifications. I'll throw up a picture of the BIOS. I did take a picture of the BIOS so you guys can check out the system specs in the BIOS. But I also ran LSHW in the terminal. And as you can see, we are rocking 1 GB of RAM, along with a Radeon X 1400 for our graphics. And then if I scroll up here, you can see our processor, which is an Intel T2300. There we go, running at 1.66 gigahertz. Now let's just run this system through its paces. We'll open up a couple applications, see what this thing can do. I played around with this already. System performance is pretty similar to the T60. Nothing really different. It is a little bit slower. It is suffering from lack of RAM. The system only has 1 gigabyte of RAM, and trying to do this with a modern operating system, well, you want all 3 gigs of RAM installed, which I believe is the limit on this system, just like with the T60. The T60 has a limitation of 3 gigabytes of RAM, and I think the Z61M also suffers from that same limitation. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I believe that is how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is visit my website. I thought I bookmarked a bunch of pages down here, but I guess not. I haven't really used the new Firefox too much, and so far I'm actually liking it. Very nice design, but as you can see, site loaded up just fine. Scrolling is pretty smooth. You can see it jerks around every once in a while, but that's not too bad. And we will try opening up multiple tabs. So once again, we're struggling because we only have 1 gigabyte of RAM installed, and as you can see, we don't have that much RAM left. We have about 200 megabytes of RAM left, and we're already digging into our swap space, unfortunately. So system could definitely use some more RAM. I'll open up my other website. This is the archive site, and as you can see, that's a pretty basic site. It loads up nice and fast. Let's hit Reddit. The ThinkPad Reddit, which if you're a big fan of ThinkPads and you're looking for somewhere to get some questions answered, the ThinkPad Reddit is a great place to go. And I'll scroll down here. We'll open up YouTube. And this can play standard definition video back just fine. And the volume controls do work, so I can go ahead and crank that up. Well, they were working. Oh, now they're not working anymore. Well, that's disappointing. Everything was working on this machine when I first set it up. That's weird that the volume controls all of a sudden stopped working. But as you can see, sound is playing through the speakers. Usually at this point I would demonstrate multitasking capabilities, but we really don't have enough RAM for that, so I'm not going to do that right now. If you want to see what multitasking capabilities would be like on this machine, check out the T60 video. Once again, performance is really similar to performance from a stock IBM T60. So word processor works just fine. We'll pop open another application. Let's open up, how about Mate color selection, or Mate color selection. As you can see, that's working just fine. Nothing too interesting here. I didn't install any other applications. The only thing I have on the system are the stock applications. We'll open up VLC Media Player, even though I don't have any media for it. As you can see, applications are opening up pretty fast. So if we had a little bit more RAM in the system, I think this thing would definitely fly. So that's me about it for this little demo. I'm not going to stick on this too long, as I said earlier. Nearly identical performance to stock T60, and nothing out of the ordinary as far as performance is concerned. Now, some of you might be wondering which ThinkPad lid style I prefer personally, and some of you might not care, and if you don't care, just stop watching this video because it's pretty much over anyway. But personally, I prefer the black style lid just because I think it looks more professional. You can take this to work. No one's going to bat an eye at it. It looks like a typical plain black laptop. Now with this is a little more flashy, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. To be blatant about it, I think this lid looks sweet. I really like the way the titanium lid looks on this ThinkPad Z61M. And that being said, that stuff is really tough as well. Just as the T60, this can also become a weaponized laptop. Someone comes up to you, they don't have a weapon, they're just threatening you. Man, you take this thing out, they're asking for it. This thing is a weaponized laptop. So, yep, prefer the black lid. Really like the way this titanium lid looks, though. And that's going to be about it for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and post a comment down in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. If you didn't like this video, please tell me why. And of course, please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to support me, you can use my Amazon or eBay affiliate links, both of which can be found down in the description. You can also support me by checking out my Patreon page. Link to that's in the description as well. And of course, please do not forget to drop a like on the Facebook page. Thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you in the next installment of A Computers and Technology.